Welcome to day 12. I am Sophia Worrell, and today we will continue part 2 of the importance of writing. If all of this is overwhelming for you now, then think about how vital it is for children who needs an early start in life. And today I want to topic this section as I don't like vegetables. So I worked in a shelter in New York City and dinner was served each day. It came as a surprise to me that children hated vegetables. Then I realized why. It was not so much that children hated fruits and vegetables, it was that their mothers did not like vegetables and passed down that negative response to the children. The children would say that they did not like certain foods but could not explain the reason why. What was interesting was that I heard the same phrase attached to so many other things that people did not like. Let's do another exercise for thought. The question is, does it matter whether we like something or not? You can pause the video or you can continue to listen, but just think about it as we go on. For instance, when I was younger and suffered with low blood count, the doctors gave me iron tablets to bring up my count. My mother told me that I must use vegetables that contained a natural source of iron. One of the best sources was spinach. She also insisted that I drink the juice from the spinach after I steamed it. It was so icky to eat and the taste was terrible. However, I felt an immediate difference when I used this food. I used it even though I hated the taste, only because it was good for me. Over time, I have found that the best things for us are usually the hardest to do or use. We all remember that terrible white liquid that our mothers would force us to use. When we have a cough, that Buckley's cough medicine did the trick but tasted awful. We want to lose the weight but have to give up certain foods and have to do those strenuous exercises that make us pass out on the floor after the routine. But if we want to get in shape or be healthy or overcome that cold and build up our immune system, we have to put in the work. It is not whether we like what we're doing or not. It is the goal that we're working towards that help us to maintain focus. It is easy to sit around on the couch watching television every day. It is easy to goof off in school and never graduate. It is easy to do the bare minimum, but none of that serves us in the end. But today, that all ends. So I'm going to challenge you to do a couple of things after this session that will start you on the path to overcome this lazy way of operating. I've asked you to purchase my book called Manpower and hope that you have ordered it on Amazon. But while you wait for it to arrive, if you don't have Prime, I'm asking you to pick up your Bible and read one chapter per day. If you do not have one, then you can go out and purchase one. It will help you to find your origins. It will give you a good start. So shall we continue our lesson on why it is important to write? It matters who we're writing for, as this gives us a sense of what we are to write. Of course, the first person you want to write for is yourself. Journaling is a good way to get inside of your thoughts and let out your feelings. After you write your thoughts, you will progress to writing out daily lists. Writing a to-do list every night before you go to bed and then crossing off all that you completed the next day as you seek to get those tasks done will not only organize your day as you strike off those items, but will give you a sense of accomplishment. The problem with us of African descent is that we do not have any conscious wins under our belt and carry unnecessary weight on our shoulders. A simple exercise of writing out our thoughts will help us deal with some of the issues that are plaguing us. If notes help you, think of what it would do for others. There was a time when we would sit and write a letter to a friend and put it in the post. I know how wonderful I felt when I would write home to my mother when I first came here to America. I especially appreciated when I received a letter or a postcard from my friends back home. Texts disappear, conversations fade away, and emails can be deleted. But that letter or card lasts forever. Writing is an excellent tool to help us to reflect. That image in your mind or that thought is so much different from what is constructed on that piece of paper. Writing is great for planning ahead and listing goals that you want to attain. The simple act of putting that goal on a piece of paper is the first step to facing that fear. A short one liner of something major you want to have happen and then seeing it come true is an amazing feeling. One of the best things that I have found that writing does is to help with social skills. If you can bravely put it on paper, you will have the guts to take it a step further. I have stated that apart from reading all day in school, students are writing all day. The classes vary, the exercise vary, and the activities vary, but they're doing some form of writing. Whether the students are completing classwork, homework, taking a test, or sitting an examination, they have to read and write to complete that assignment. We probably did not see the importance of all of this when we were in school because no one showed us the reason why we were there. Our parents probably did not have the time to sit and explain why we should settle down in a class and listen to the teacher. We did not take full advantage of our time because our parents may not have completed their own schooling and could not have set an example for us. But if there's something in our path, isn't it something to take note of and give some consideration as to why it is there? So let's do another exercise. Have you ever thought as to why you live in your home and what kind of environment you really want? How about when you send your children to school? Can you just take a moment and think about why you do so and what it is that you're truly expecting them to take away from those years. The challenge is that we as African descendants did not set up any of these systems of the world or design any of the infrastructure. We may boast that we built buildings, but all we did was to do the physical labor. Have we ever thought about completing engineering school or doing the training to be an architect so that we can lay out the blueprint for a structure? We have no comprehension of all of the setups that we have to come up against and spend more time, but we spend more time complaining about these systems than actually learning why they are here in the first place. The natural progression from home to school is the workplace. I have stated that this is where we spend the bulk of our time. But since we come from broken homes, which does not set us up for very well for the next place of learning, which is school, we tend to drop out because we do not understand its link to us going into a career. Dad and mom, bonded in marriage, would have themselves completed their education and could then have helped us to see the benefits having them pass that way. But instead, they have no clue, and so we have no clue either. Yet, we went through it and did not seem to gain any understanding, and so our children are lost. But now we understand through this course our purpose as male and female. We now know that as the male, it is our duty to be disciplined by following the commands of God and then joining with a woman who is also disciplined to work with her on the plan of the man. We now know that school is the natural progression after we have formed the proper family unit. And now we know that students in school are preparing for the workplace. We understand that God created the family unit and He has allowed us as human beings to build on that dynamic and form a systematic society for us to function in and outside of the home. So let's look at the workplace. So when a person has graduated from university or trade school or at school, they're now ready to participate in the work ethic that God has set since creation. He created the world in 7 days and rested on the last day. The system of the world allots 5 days to work and 2 days off. 1 day is where we sit to get our chores done, and the other is usually spent with God in devotion service or congregating with other believers. The Bible and the secular world remains consistent on this aspect. When students sit attentive to the teacher, they're practicing discipline. When these students participate in class projects, they're practicing how to work with others in the workplace in a team effort. When students do their homework, they're practicing going the extra mile in service. When students go to the library and borrow books, they are expanding their minds with information so that they can partner in their learning process and not be dependent on the teacher for all of their information. I noted before that parents and children are on the same page when it comes to them looking at pictures or calling out the letters of the alphabet or numbers. Those letters and numbers never change. However, I have stated that there's a vast difference when children read information. Each child will come away with a different idea. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It is the same as if there was an accident, and depending on the angle or worldview, there will be varying aspects that catches the attention of each viewer. The written word is the same, and sometimes we may have the habit of trying to force another person to abstract what we are coming away with. The beauty of learning is to hear the perspective of others, and we want our own perspective to be heard. This is a valuable lesson that parents are to teach, and the teacher must respect. And this is how you work better in workplaces as well. So now the child has grown older and has another point of view from the parent. Should the parent correct them and tell them that they're wrong for the particular view that they have arrived at? Or should the parent allow the child to express themselves and then engage in a respectful debate? This is the challenge in schools that teachers face with 20 to 30 different minds sitting in a classroom, and their ability to partner with each child in the learning process. This is an interesting dilemma that schools have, society have, and workplaces have. Children and students are reading to come up with ideas to enhance the world that they're being taught, and they're being taught to write their ideas so that they can express themselves clearly and they can deliver those ideas. Parents and teachers alike are guilty of not facilitating the process for these precious little people to articulate themselves in a safe place. And because children are hindered in one way or the other as they move through life, they have not gained the skill to permit themselves to succeed. And that is why so many children are being sabotaged today and have to conceal the views and opinions that will supersede anything that those great minds did before. So continue to journal and write out your thoughts. If you are concerned with someone reading it, order one that can be locked away. I promise you that this will be therapeutic. I'm asking you to use writing to write the tasks that you want to complete the next day. And as you complete those tasks, just cross them off. Just remember that Rome was not built in a day. There are many of us of African descent that are now being stereotyped with those who act barbaric and unintelligent. Their thug-like behavior is not what we want to represent us in our culture anymore. This is not God's way. This is not the American way. And it is time to build a culture that is peaceful, loving, and kind. Thank you.